We're going to get started in just a minute. Actually, once you're here, Zane, come say hello to the people.
Hello, everybody.
We have Zane Burko here. He is joining us for the next couple weeks. He is acting as a intern for Wealthy Commercials. Kid is super talented. He weighs in at 96 pounds, 4 foot 10 inches, 13 years old, and he's ready and hungry for business. Welcome, Zane, to the team. Happy to have you, buddy. Welcome, Facebook and Instagram. This is Berel Solomon for today's episode of the Berel Solomon Show. We have a very, very exciting episode today that I think every single person, including myself, needs to hear over and over and over and over again, which is how to handle bad days. You see me here every single day with a smile on my face, cranking and rolling and wanting to build and grow. But I promise you this, ladies and gentlemen, there are many, many, many days that things are not going my way. Whether things outside of business are happening that are not going my way, things inside the business are not going my way, or even worse, sometimes inside of your heart and inside of your mind, it's not always going the right way. Today I want to discuss how to deal with those days, how you manage those days, how to move past in those days, and how we could continue to build even when hard times are going on, inside, outside, and in the middle. All right, welcome to the show. Let's jump right into it. Today's episode: how to handle bad days. Number one, you have no choice, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. You have two options. You could either face your problems, or you could crawl in a little corner in a fetus position and give up. And that's not really a choice. You know, I had a friend, anytime that something bad would happen to him, the guy would go to sleep. It was the weirdest thing. He had a bad situation, go to sleep. Got into a fight with his girlfriend, he went to sleep. Something didn't go his way, he went to sleep. It was a very, very weird behavior. And if he wasn't sleeping, he was watching Netflix. He would watch Netflix movies to try to escape. We all do this to a certain extent, whether it's through drugs, whether it's through disengaging, whether it's through bad behavior, or whether it's just not showing up to the game. That is never, ever, ever, ever the answer. You have no choice but to carry on, because guess what? You do not choose when your heart stops ticking. It's going to tick until God wants it to. And if you give up and you go to the corner, your problem is still going to be there when you get up. I remember I used to smoke cigarettes, and whenever I had a bad situation, I would go and smoke a cigarette. So anytime that I had something bad go on, cigarette, cigarette, cigarette. And I thought that that was, solving my problems, but really it was just running away. And when I stopped smoking the cigarette, it's been 8 years, thank God, since I smoked, I would have to face my problem again. So you got no choice but to deal with your problems. The other option is crawl into a corner and die, and nobody wants to do that. You're better than that. So number one, to handle bad days, know that you have no choice but to handle them. Next, push forward. There's been so many days that I have been in this office that have been so incredibly stressful, that have been so incredibly difficult, and it would have been so nice just to hop in my car and go home and just chill and relax. Sometimes, by the way, that is warranted, but 99% of the time, the answer is not to go home and give up. The answer is to push forward and get up and push yourself even when it is tough. On those mornings, on those days. There have been days, ladies and gentlemen, where I have been sitting in my office and horrible things have happened here, and all I wanted to do was go home and give up. And that is not the answer. It's specifically in those times you have to push forward. What separates the boys from the men, the ladies from the women, in business, in life, in general, is when you're having those tough days, to not give up and to specifically push forward. When that phone call is hard to do, when that decision is hard to do, when that smile on your face is hard to do, when walking through that door is hard to do, that's specifically when you have to do it. And it doesn't stay hard forever. That initial push forward that you have to get through. When you start a car, for example, it's not hard for the engine once it gets at 100 miles an hour. But 0 to 60, you better believe that that's tough, but that doesn't last. Push forward in those hard days. Do not give up in those hard days. Don't let yourself psych yourself out, which brings me to my next point. Tell yourself that it will be okay. I regularly lie to myself that things will be okay. There's so many mornings, and a lot of you have probably heard this if you've been watching me or following me. There's so many mornings that I'll get up and I know that everything is going to hell, and I'll look in the mirror and I'll repeat to myself over and over and over again, everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be okay. Everything is going to be all right. Everything's going to be okay. And I literally fool myself and believe, because really that's the truth. Let's be honest here, okay? Even if you look back at the hardest situations that you've had in your life, you could honestly say that those are the points that you grew the most. Think about it right now for a second. Think about the hardest situation you had in your life. I can guarantee that you came out a better woman or a better man because as a result from that hard situation. The truth is at the end of the day, everything does turn around, everything does turn positive, everything does turn okay. And that's what you have to remember. Tell yourself it'll be okay. Lie to yourself. I say lie in quotation quotations, because really it's not lying. The truth is that you actually will be okay. But the first person that has to know that is you. To tell yourself everything will be okay. Yes. Next, reach up to God. This is a huge one, okay? This actually probably should have been first on the list. According to nature, there is no reason why things should be okay. According to nature, you should have been eaten by wild animals a long time ago. According to nature, things actually should not be okay. It's random. The world is chaotic. I always say, if you take an atheist, right? What does he believe the world is created by? He believes that at some point, billions of years ago, there was a random explosion. From that random explosion broke off a rock. And from that rock came the world. And from that random rock came what? Random species that came from the ocean. From that random species from the ocean, it grew, it came into a reptile. And the reptile turned into a monkey, and the monkey turned into a human, and the human turned into you. All right? If you do not believe in God and you believe that everything is random, there's no reason why tomorrow should be okay, because really God is just playing dice with the universe and everything is completely random and completely strange. But if you believe that God runs the world, and if you understand that God is ultimately good and God ultimately wants to give you good, not that just he's a good guy and you know what, whether you're good or you're bad, it depends how he's going to treat you. If you believe that he's only good and you believe that he's only going to give you good, revealed good, then you have a hope and you have a reason to trust that tomorrow is going to be okay. When you're going through a tough day, ladies and gentlemen, and nothing is going your way, that's specifically when you need to reach up to God. There's an expression that there's no such thing as an atheist in a bomb shelter. When they're dropping bombs on your town, in your city, even if you're the biggest atheist, you better believe you're believing in God at that point. Going through a tough day, reach up to God, ask for a little help, watch the magic that ensues after that. I've seen it countless times in my life. Most beautiful experience is that. All right, next, ask for people's advice. Will Smith changed my life when I was 12 years old. I'll tell you why. Because he was accepting a Nickelodeon award, and I remember he said on stage, whatever it is that you are going through currently, or whatever you are going to experience in your life, somebody older than you, wiser than you, smarter than you, has gone through it and written about it, and you could read about his or her experience. You're not the first person that ever entered into the world. The world existed many thousands of years before you came to it, and the same situation, it says that there's nothing new under the sun. There's no experience that you are going through that there has not been another person that has already gone through. When I'm going through a tough day, I reach up to people that I respect. I reach up to people that went through similar situations that I'm going through, and I ask for their advice, how to chart my way through it, how to get myself out of that mess that I'm in, and how to get myself back into a positive frame of mind where I could start building and start growing and leave that depression zone. Feeling depressed, it's always the evil inclination. You want to leave that depression as soon as possible, because nobody wins when you're depressed. You don't win, your friends don't win, your family doesn't win, your business doesn't win. You want to move that depression zone as soon as humanly possible. Ask somebody, reach up, ask for advice. That's where the power lies. All right, next. Yes, question.
It says, hello Berel, love what you do. What advice do you have to balance work and family?
Cool. Who is that?
Mohammed Panju.
Mohammed Panju, welcome to the show, Mo. We appreciate it. Mohammed asks, I love that I have a Muhammad on the show. What a good guy. I love you, Mo. Muhammad asks, how do you balance work and family? And I get this question all the time. I don't see it as a contradiction. A lot of people see it as it's conflicting and contradicting. First of all, I have a rule. At 6 o'clock every single night, I'm in my house no matter what. I'm there to eat dinner with my family. I'm there for my kids. I'm there for my wife. I'm there to take care of bathing them, feeding them, whatever it is that needs to get done. 6 o'clock every single day, I'm home at 6 o'clock. That's personally my balance that I have. Saturday, Sunday, no work, family days. 9 o'clock until 5:30 every single day, Monday, Friday, I'm acting like a complete lunatic building this business and going full force. And I noticed that the more successful I am in business, the more successful I am in my office and career, the actually more I'm able to give to my family. Not just monetarily, by the way, which is obvious, but more on a spiritual and a contented level. When I come home from my office and I've had a killer week and a successful day and I did what I had to do, I feel like $1,000,000. And when I come home, I'm able to share that feeling and that glow with my family, that when I'm winning, they're winning. They want to see me win. They want to see me succeed because they know that I'm going to be the best dad, the best father, the best husband to them when I'm winning and succeeding at my office. How do I balance it? Get home every day at 6 o'clock, don't work on the weekends, and 9 until 5:30 every single day, I work like a lunatic so I could provide spiritually, materially, and lovingly to my family. Last point in how to get over bad days, how to handle bad days, know that it is temporary. I say this all the time. Whatever bad situation that you are going through, you have to understand that your life is a very, very, very long book, and this is a very small chapter. And that's all you got to look at is there's a famous story of a king, and he had on a piece of paper a message that would make a poor man happy and a rich man said. And what it was a piece of paper that said, this too will pass. Meaning the poor man eventually become rich, and the rich man will eventually become poor, and this too will pass. Meaning everything in life is not something that stays. A lot of people, when they get in a bad situation, they think that that's their life, and they're locked in at that zone, at that moment. But life is a movie, life is a book. You have chapters, you have scenes, you have openings, you have closings. Some people, unfortunately, keep themselves stuck in situations. They stay there, they mull it over, they're in their head, they're driving themselves nuts about it. You got to get out of that situation, understand that this here is temporary, and you go back to my second point, which was push forward and let time carry you out of the situation, let time carry you out and get you out, and understand that eventually it's temporary and eventually you're going to get out of it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going through a bad day, pick yourself up, get yourself up. Know that depression never helped anybody. The opposite, of course, if you're clinically depressed, that's a different story. You have to deal with that on a different level with meds and whatever it is. But not everybody's clinically depressed. Most of the time, it's just up here you have to control. Down here you have to get a hold of. And I gave you the 6 things. Let's just go over them. A, you have no choice but to push forward. B, you got to push forward. Number 3, tell yourself that it will be okay. Number 4, reach up to God. Number 5, ask for people's advice. And number 6, know that it's temporary and this too will pass. Questions?
Yeah, we got a question. Well, not really a question, but a comment. It says, life is amazing 24/7. It all starts with a healthy mindset.
Beautiful. Who is that from?
Aaron Joseph Eliman.
Aaron Joseph, thank you for your comment. Life is beautiful 24/7. Listen, my life is not beautiful 24/7. Actually, there are many, many days that I wake up and the last thing I want to do is get out of my bed because I don't want to face what the world has to throw at me that day. So I believe it's beautiful maybe 24/5, but what I'm trying to focus on is those days that are difficult. Anybody who is honest with themselves, and Aaron, you're an honest guy, I know that you are, knows that there's days that are difficult. And those days specifically, that's when we need the tools to know that A, you're not alone, B, this will pass, and C, you're going to make it. And don't give up on yourself, because that's where the magic happens, is those people that don't give up. God bless. Thank you for watching this week's installment to the Berel Solomon Show. Tomorrow we have a very special guest. Can't wait to tell you all about it. Tomorrow, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can check this out on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And I'm even in your head. Have a great day. God bless. Take care.